Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Got some information for you here on Kickstart spindles. Most people, including myself and others, never knew that there was a difference here until recently. And of course, when all the aftermarket stuff started coming around, that's when a lot of this started showing itself. Uh, you know, People would swap around motors, side covers, kickstart shaft. Pretty much anything that you could swap in these motors over the last 40 years has been done. So you never know what's out there, what's right, what's not right. But when you don't know that something's not the same as the others, that's when there's an issue. We all knew that you could take the later style shaft here with the gear and the spacer and everything and the clutch cover, put it all into a different motor. Not a problem. You can interchange this stuff as long as you got the corresponding parts to go with it. But there is something different. Have you ever had a kickstart that rubbed the case, rubbed the clutch cover, and you're like, why is this one rubbing? I don't know why it's really doing this, and it's weird. My buddies doesn't do it, and he's got an 86, I got an 86, or vice versa, or whatever. So I'm gonna show you something that's come up, and luckily I had a whole box of Kickstart shafts that I could find everything and show you the difference here. So as far as your 86 and then 87 to 89, of course, those take a different gear, different spacer, different clutch cover. I'm not going to get into any of that. But what I was going to measure, and you'll have to forgive me here because I am going to try to look through my phone to do this crud. But so I kind of measure it down, and it doesn't really matter what the measurement actually is. I'm just kind of getting an idea here just to show. Get down in that clip area right there, and to show that the 87 to 89 is the same as the 86. Now we take our little oddball 85 here, which, by the way, when you look up an 85 on the parts fish, it's got the same part number as the 86. So apparently in 86 they did some changing, and then they just use that same number for 85 too. But when I put this little jewel in here, we got us a little difference there. So let me go over here to where the kicker, I'm going to get up here a little closer to right where the end of the splines are at. Right about there. And I am in between the C-clip on that against that washer. By the way, I measured the distance between this washer and the end of these shafts are all three the same. There's no difference there. So I'm going to lock this little jewel down right here, and I'm going to grab this one here. Get it in that same spot. And there's your difference on your length. Your 86 kicker, your 85 kicker takes the same pieces as far as the gear. Now your 85 spacer that went on was not a single spacer. It was a spacer that had two small thin washers, one that went on each side of it. But they equaled the same as the 86. So the only difference was actually from this part forward. So there's about 130 thousandths difference there on this shaft, which came out only in 85, and it is a little bit shorter. So if you put your kicker on this one, if you had 85 shaft, your kicker is going to stick in closer to your clutch cover, and that's going possibly to cause you some rubbing issues if things line up just right. So if you have that instance where you are having that problem, I would look and see, and I tell you the best way I can do this is to go total length on it. And we'll have this for reference here. So basically, if you used to put calipers on it and kind of finagle with it, looks like 5 inches, 886, or somewhere really close to that. That's the short one. The long one is going to be 6 inches, 21 thousandths. So you know, that kind of tells you the difference. Like I said, it's roughly close to 130 thousandths, maybe just a hair bit more than that. So that is your difference there. And if you think you've got the short shaft, about the only way you can do it is to pull it out and measure it. Man, that didn't sound right. So never mind, you dirty mind suckers out there. But so your Kickstart shaft, you can measure it and find out if you've got the 85 shaft and you want to get your kicker stuck out just about an 1/8 inch longer, you can go to the 86 shaft and nothing else will change. Just move your components over and you'll be good to go. So one other thing I noticed was, if you look up on the microfiche for 1987, it also shows the same part number as 1986. But as we all know, there was a change in 87. 87's a bastard year. You can have some things in 87 that is like an 86. You can have some things that's more like the 88 style. So there could have been something there that changed over and they just decided. I think there was a goof up on the parts fiche, because I know I broke into Virgin 87 cylinders or 87 engines that have the later style Kickstart shaft in it and the gear and all this and that. So it's just one of those things. Replace what you've got and go on. That's about all you can do on some of this stuff. Of course, these are all unavailable from Honda anymore at any rate, so it doesn't really matter. You can't order one. But this gives you an idea on if you've got a Kickstart problem that's rubbing slightly. If you happen to have this one, you can find the later shaft here, and then you can move it out just a hair and hopefully not have any more trouble. The other thing is that, once you install it, put the pinch bolt on it, you can try to pull it out to the end of the space in the splines there as far as you can, and then tighten the bolt down. That gives you just a little bit more too. So that's all for today, I guess, with the tech information, and hopefully this helps somebody out. I mean, it's one of these things that until you really start critiquing and start looking at things very closely, Honda, man, there's changes in these things that we're finding out all the time. Every time you think you've got about everything down, they'll throw you a curveball and you'll find something else. So the more the aftermarket comes out and whatnot, you're going to find that this is the case. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday. We're kind of still iced in here, but having fun, and everybody take care. Thank you.